Hey everybody, John R2 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, we got a music box and we found out that it plays Morse code, or at least we think it plays Morse code. And we've linked this whole case, including the McGilded case, to a government conspiracy of people stealing government secrets and selling them. Let's continue on and see what we can find out. We regular communication station officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry. And Mr. Graydon is the team leader. That's fascinating. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idle. Stop. So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Graydon. Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors so they can't be heard. And in any case, all messages are sent enciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with ministry technicians and the ministry communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications. And he's received the top prize at the cipher cracking convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idle. Stop. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you'd keep your mouth shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Let's press that. Oh, can't press that. Now we're at the second statement. Let's press this.
Hold it!
They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Yeah, you need pauses and dashes. Or dots and dashes, right? Of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch. He looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. Ha ha ha. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of two distinct tones, hence the other music thing. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those two in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A, and this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Ha ha ha. Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Ugh, stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Very. Iris? I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play back Morse code? Seems impossible. Let's give it a try. But we know that there's a second mechanism. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? Ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, two tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code? Oh, I gotta do this again? Open that. Yeah, we already know this happens. Stop talking about it like you've never seen it before. Just open it up. Let's open it, come on. Alright. Yeah. We know that there's another one here. Yes, they're two connected. Yep. Alright, so present this.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time. Good heavens! And the court has heard Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry? This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were to be able to present the court with a second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago, striking a deal over disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly, I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Okay, so I guess we gotta keep pressing statements, right? Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue. The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Oh dear, looks like you need to give your argument more strength. You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, though, I maintain exactly what I did at the start of the pointless cross-examination. Was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man. So wait a minute, did we pressed the one before this. Let's press this one.
Hold it!
So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remember little about him. That doesn't make much sense, though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed? There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all of this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Yeah, especially since this guy is well-dressed, he's getting money from selling secrets. Dear me. I don't know why it took me so long to notice that aspect of it. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. Link the two of them together. Alright, let's keep that in mind. That was, statement 3? Something to link him and the brickmaker together. If you have nothing more to add on that note, let us return to the witness testimony. Look, all we've done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do. Press that.
Hold it!
Alright, like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it, yeah. Who else, huh? Silly me thought we was just popping over for a natter after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Hey, Ash? Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say. Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Graydon's an old China. An old China. What do you got to say about it?
Excuse me.
Something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Eh? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have right old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash, I mean. You look at him now in his fancy whistle and flute and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it. But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? But we was always a leery one. Or he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy, always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Or blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a corker, huh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Add it to the testimony. I don't know why we wouldn't add it. My lord? Yes, counsel? The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to the case. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more. Skulkin's never skulkin'. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run. Gore, them were the days. All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although, all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiating Jenny overheard in the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Windybanks. The trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus or Mr. McGilden. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. Wonder if the key to us making headway with the cross-examination here could be those two brothers. So I didn't press that last one. Let's go to it. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run. Actually, we missed a few, right? We only pressed their first one. So that would be this one. So we didn't press this one. Let's press this.
Hold it!
Dodgy government secrets. So did you know nothing about this music box? We didn't know nothing. We still don't know nothing. And we ain't planning on knowing nothing about it either. But 2 nights ago, you did indeed break into Windybank's pawnbrokery, didn't you? In your original testimony... Oh, I gotta hit the button. You said that you were at the door of the shop. You said that the door of the shop was ajar and that it was like some kind of sign begging you to go in. But the truth is, you were planning to break into Windybanks all along, weren't you? We were, Gov, we were. You're right there. Because that's what he told us to do. It was his plan. And why was it Mr. Graydon's plan to break into Windybanks that night? Did you not ask the reason? Well, he said the place was full of stuff worth nicking. That's what he told us beforehand, anyway. Turned out it was a load of cobblers, didn't it? I weren't the best pleased, I can tell you. In any case, if they know the real reason, it doesn't sound like they're going to give it away. Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run. Alright, this is the one we probably need to press.
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The name? So this business was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Oh, right. I thought a clever clogs like you had worked that one out. That is... enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because I will... It weren't the happiest of homes that one came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton. So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves, huh? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Ag. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. A.M. That information could change things, and it could turn out to be extremely important. Ashley Graydon's personal profile has been updated. Okay, how is that going to be useful? All of a sudden, we seem to be up our necks in a serious matter. Court record. Do any of these say Milverton? No. Gina's papers, pawnbroker. Gilded case notes. Oh. Well, it's right there. Mason Milverton. So, thrice-fired Mason was his brother? Oh, our father. Could have been the father. All of a sudden, we seem to be up our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although, talk about this interceptor's secrets. All right, she's already said all this. All right. No. I know what to press now. I know it. All right, we got to find the link. The link, what was that? Number 3, communications officer. Low-class brickmaker, no relation. He literally has relation, so we're going to present. It's this book here. Present.
Objection.
That was your dad, Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years, it means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say saints alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? I don't... As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you join the civil service. And it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. Let me get some water here. Grr. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to McGilded in collaboration with your father. Did we win the case finally? We still have to prove that he shot... What's his nuts? The new fact and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at this pawnbroker. Then, having learnt of the situation, he appeared at Windbanks 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box? Eh? We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Windybank was killed, yeah, it had been moved. The intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box. As rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera indeed. So, the question that naturally begs answering is this. Why was only that one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall in the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? Yeah, but here's my problem with all this. There's a plot hole here. Couldn't he have just bought the music box because it was forfeit already and then just like went and burned it? Right? Is there a reason he couldn't have just bought it and that he went to go break in to get it? Do you deny that all this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Oh, he's got blood on his coat now. Sir, There appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? Ah! 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windybank's pawnbrokery. 1 took the life of the pawnbroker himself. 1 struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes's waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Tisk. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember? And I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly, I was a fool to think I could trust some common back slum thieves. He's admitting to it. Fine, I admit it. Hey, he literally admitted it. I was there in Windybanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets? Negotiating with Mr. McGilded? As God is my witness, I shall recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... we now know that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windybank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windybank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder. Goodness. That's right, Mr. Graydon. Grr. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windybank that night is you.
Hold it!
Ha 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 ha. You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communication station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in the case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at the poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. Okay, so now he's just straight lying. What? Order, order, order. Well, it would seem we're finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. I feel like they've been saying the last act for like the last 37 episodes. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, You will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Okay, so all or nothing. If we can prove this wrong, we've won it, right? Okay, I understand fully. And I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. And we're going to see that next episode. Hopefully next episode will be the final episode. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a little bit longer. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.